I went to Nasik right now. There was a little kitten and I fed her, and then she just came and sat on me and kept purring. And I feel like, like the things they talk about falling in love when you see
Yeah.
somebody, it's never happened with a girl, but when a cat does that to you, you are like, just stay here, don't leave, you know.
Hi guys, welcome to Chalchitra Talks. मेरा नाम दिशा है and this is our guest episode with Shakun Batra. Shakun Batra is a film director and writer who has made some of the most cherished films of Indian cinema like Ik Mein Aur Ek Tu, Kapoor and Sons, and most recently Gehraiyaan. Vaibhav and I had the chance to sit down and talk to him about Gehraiyaan as well as get his recommendations on movies, books and more. If you're new here, we are a recommendations-based channel that brings you some of the finest recommendations on books, movies, music, poetry every single week. So make sure you're subscribed, and with that, let's get into this episode.
Hi Shakun, how are you? Welcome to Chalchitra Talks.
Hey Vaibhav, thank you so much, man. Pleasure to be here.
Disha and I are going to talk about a lot of things with you. पहले गहराइयाँ की बात करते हैं. The movie has been out for a while now. मेरे को बहुत पसंद आई, मैंने उस पर एक वीडियो भी बनाया था. I first want to know, आपको normal questions तो लोग बहुत पूछ ही रहे थे pre the release. What is one thing that people are not getting right about the movie? आपको लग रहा है इस चीज की क्यों बात कर रहे हैं जो आपने notice किया? Interesting. I never thought people would be discussing this.
So yeah, Vaibhav, obviously, I think the opinions have been crazy from left to right, polarized, from people hating it to people loving it. But honestly, I think I have to take it all as one. I have to embrace the good and the bad. I have to embrace, if I want to accept the people who are loving it, I have to accept the people who are not liking it.
When you were doing these interviews before the release of the movie, tell me like this. If someone gave you $1 every time someone asked you, does the film glorify cheating? How many dollars would you have?
Or if someone gave me 5 rupees for every time they put "Tu Mar Jai Dawabi" on a reel, I just realized, I was like, wow. Matlab, people were putting it on videos of making tandoori momo, making besan chilla. And I was like, this song has a whole new meaning. And, I've realized that today, audiences are co-creators of your film because they take a song and they use it in a certain way, and it has a different feeling for the world now. So, "Tu Mar Jai Dawabi" can be something else to you entirely, depending on what kind of reels you're watching, right? And for me, that's becoming very fascinating to learn also,
Another thing that I want to ask is, movie, जैसे हमने आपको बताया कि recommendation based platform है हमारा, but I don't want to take your movie recommendations right now. I want to know about your recommendations outside of movies. What are your inspirations outside of movies? Are you into gaming? Are you into travel? What are the things that help you in your creative process?
Reading does help. And sometimes it's not reading fiction. Sometimes it can be just reading about other people, and kind of feeling inspired from their life journeys. I do travel, but I won't call myself somebody who's traveled so extensively that I know the little details about different places. I am hoping to do that more as I get more time. I do want to make that part of my life. So yeah, recommendations. Should we start with books to begin?
Yeah, let's do that.
I think one of the books that's extremely close to my heart, which also made me lean into the mind of the protagonist, is this non-fiction book called Nazi and the Psychiatrist. It's when America's topmost psychiatrist was sent to Germany to understand the Nazi mind. So Hitler was dead, but they wanted to understand the other people in his rankings. The psychiatrist spent time with them and understand how can they be the people they are. I love study of a human mind. I think it's extremely fascinating. I think our mind and our sexuality are two things that are extremely mysterious for how they function. Another book that is very something that I love, Jiddu Krishnamurthy's book called Awakening of Intelligence, which really talks about the mind, the conditioning. How does one free themselves of the conditioning? What are the questions that he provokes and he wants you to think about? Because he's another, person who doesn't want to answer. He only wants to keep asking you questions. And I like that. And that's the same intent I wanted with this film. I wanted to leave it at a question. I just wanted to ask questions, not give you answers. Because I think it's good for people to sometimes just do the thinking themselves. There are enough people to just follow and go behind, but doing your own thinking is important.
Yeah,
So
I'm currently reading Jiddu Krishnamurti's The Book of Life. Like every day it's a journal from his page. Like February 7, there's one page about it. It is about self-belief. The other one is about passion. And like it's beautiful. I try to read one small page every day and it's amazing. And there are amazing Jiddu Krishnamurti videos on YouTube also that I like to watch.
I love them. I go down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos especially with spiritual leaders. So I go from Eckhart Tolle to Muji to Ramdas to Osho to Jiddu to Gurdjieff. These are all the people whose minds fascinate me because they're trying to push the understanding of the human mind, sometimes from an Eastern psychology, sometimes from a Western, even like Alan Watts. Now, another book that, if I may recommend, I'm trying to think of fiction now. Easter Parade is something that I absolutely love. And another book, Revolutionary Road, that turned into a film. But I think Easter Parade is equally exciting as a read. It was a book that I was reading before I started writing Gehraiyaan. Because it does deal with generational connections with people. And I love stories that take time over generation and for you to see how certain things travel from people to people. And another book that I highly recommend, another thinker that I follow, Alain de Botton. He wrote a book called Course of Love. I love that because he changed my understanding of how we perceive and look at love. I thought that was very helpful to understand love over a period of time as opposed to just, a film that tells you about love. There's another book called The Examined Life. I love reading psychologists talking about the patients, and it is him talking about his patients. At the end of every chapter, every patient, there is a discovery of who we are as human beings. And I think that I really enjoy. And then if you're a creative thinker, there are books that I think, regardless, you should read. Creativity Inc. I highly recommend. Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse, another story of a spiritual journey, which I really enjoyed.
We are talking so much about spirituality, so I have a question here. Do you meditate? And if yes, do you do guided meditation or non-guided?
I do, and I try to go between the two. Sometimes when my mind's too cluttered and I feel that I need just a voice to guide me into more silent place, then I do, whether it's Tara Brach, she's another kind of spiritual teacher that I follow on YouTube. Her guided meditations really help me. And I've done, Muji guided meditation and Ramdas guided meditation, SN Goenka's. I try. But there are a lot of times where I just want to be quiet and without a guided meditation. I just want to see what it feels like with your mind kind of trying to take your attention away. So I try that. I do look forward to meditating every day. I think that's the time of the day which I feel helps me to remind myself that there is a bigger thing at play. It's not just movie making or coming to office or talking to somebody. I am on a journey. And for me, all the things I do somewhat help me stay on that path or understand that path, So for me, yes, meditation is important.
Have you tried the Vipassana, the 10 thing?
I've just signed up for it from 23rd March to 2nd April. I think they have one. I'm just trying to figure out. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. I've always wanted it. When I was prepping for the film, it was very hard to get 10 days out. But I do look forward to that. I don't know what will come out of it. I don't know if I'll just run away or what will happen. It scares me.
A friend of mine recently did Vipassana like 20 days back, and she gave me this trick because I'm also planning to do one. So she's like, I'll give you a cheat code. You'll go to Vipassana. They say on day one, you can talk to anyone. Do one thing, don't talk to anyone on day one also. Because second day se mon chalu hota hai. So she's like, if you won't talk to anyone on day one, you won't ever feel the need to talk to anyone on the next 9 days also.
Please thank her. This is a great advice.
Are there any other activities you indulge in to unwind?
I think unwinding is a process that I believe in as a daily routine. I don't think you can be burnt out and then take 1 week off and then again recharge and burnt out. I don't believe in that philosophy. I think I want to have longevity. I want to be able to, I know when I have to work with intensity, but I like to have a routine that allows me unwinding every day. So I would start my day with, some time with myself, with writing, sometimes just a journal. Morning pages is something I highly recommend. I picked up that exercise when my mind was really cluttered, and I came across this exercise, morning pages. I think it's The Artist's Way is the book that talks about it, where you wake up and you write 3 pages of your stream of consciousness, whatever comes to your mind without stopping. Let the pen just flow. And sometimes when you do it over time, 2 or 3 days, you start seeing a pattern in your writing. You start seeing what's bothering you, what's playing on your mind, and it can start to reveal things that you're feeling, which you probably have suppressed or not thought about. That is something I like to do as an exercise as much as I can. I have to be more regular with it. I like to meditate. I like to read. I have my neighbor's dog that comes over to play with me. So I look forward to that. I have an old uncle in my building who in the morning likes to do yoga exercises. And I love to connect with him because I think it's just like a part of reality that's so different than mine. He does laughter exercises. I used to be very embarrassed in the beginning, but I gave in. I thought, you know what? I mean, let's just give in to this. And I have to say, I enjoy it because I think in those half an hour, I'm a part of someone else's life and they're part of my life. And it creates this bond and relationship that otherwise would not exist. It's just the two of us who look forward to meeting each other. I like that as an unwinding thing. Yes, but I do like to travel. I recently, in fact, just after the film, I needed a quick getaway. I went to Nashik to this off-the-grid location. Actually, it's between Igatpuri and Nashik called Avata 130. It's just these 4 cottages in the middle of nowhere by the lake. So don't try to promote it. Maybe I'm doing a disservice by talking about it. But they're lovely people who run this and they don't want to make it a big thing. They want to just keep it less. In fact, my driver and I went and, Riaz, my driver was like, कि सर इधर तो कुछ और लोग के साथ आते हैं ना, ये तो बहुत खाली हो रहा है. And then Riaz at one point, looked at the lake and he said, इधर इनको बोट डाल देना चाहिए ताकि और लोग आएंगे. So I had to explain to Riaz that इनको नहीं चाहिए कि और लोग आएं, ये चाहते हैं कि कम लोग ही आएं. So he looked at me very confused and I asked him if we should come here again, and he's like, कहीं और चलते हैं and all that, because obviously he thought this is like a holiday and how can you be alone on a holiday, but I really enjoyed this little getaway. When I was writing this film, I would run away to Goa every now and then to a small place, which now has become a hotel, unfortunately. It was a boutique place run by, a friend of mine called Birdsong, which has now become Postcard Moira. I used to go there just for my writing gigs. Now it's a hotel, so I don't.
I want to ask you about your digital hygiene and social media hygiene now. Like, would you call yourself an addict, or is it something नहीं मैं तो phone बहुत easily छोड़ सकता हूँ?
I think for the first time during the film release and promotions, I thought the algorithm got me. I always thought I was smarter than the algorithm. I always thought like, I know my way out. But what you're doing is for promotions, you're posting, right? So you're posting your music, reels, and then people are reposting it. And then sometimes you are reposting those people. And I think that gave Instagram like the trick, like to just get me, and it became a thing because I was waking up and I'm somebody who never liked to check my phone when I wake up. For the first couple of hours, I like to do my thing, but it's been very hard. I think whoever made that Instagram algorithm, I was like, genius. I really want to meet them and at some point maybe punch them. Because now I am going back to that, hopefully a habit of keeping my phone away, not checking it. I used to manage my screen time, especially when I'm writing. I manage my screen time. I try, even with work calls, to keep it under 1.5 hours a day if I could, sometimes 2 hours, but definitely under 2 hours when I'm in a writing work mode place.
The thing with screen time is that it's very easy to beat. वो बोलता है ignore screen time, and you do, and you can just barge in. So I tried to install these apps, Freedom and all these apps, which really lock you down. Okay, now really? You cannot. Yeah. I paid like around like $100 or something for a year for Freedom. There are whitelists and blacklists on it. So if you put something in blacklist, आप फोन को कुछ भी कर लो, तोड़ के reset कर लो, कुछ भी कर लो, आप वो app use ही नहीं कर पाओगे.
Recently, they've come out with something, I guess, some setting where if you delete your app, it does, and reinstall it, it doesn't let you delete it for another week.
Wow, I feel like this kind of knowing, the good thing is the first level is of awareness, knowing that you're addicted. And then you're right. I mean, just like alcohol and, other things that can be addictive, it's important to know that it is an addiction. To come to that awareness and not fool yourself that the rest of the world is doing it, you have to know that it's taking over your thinking time. It's important to come to that awareness. And when you do, then you have to, just like in any other addiction, speak or consider things that would keep you away from it.
Got it. Are there any apps that you like in terms of productivity or note making or writing?
I mean, I use the usual. I have notes and voice memos that I use a lot to make notes. I am somebody who believes a lot in scheduling and calendars. When I have multiple projects going on, I have a team member on every project, and they have access to my calendar, so they can directly put their bit onto my calendar. So sometimes when I wake up after whatever few hours of doing, I have to look at my calendar to see what all has been placed. I do like to stick to an organized day, especially when you're trying to make a film. There's a lot going on. You want to make sure that you don't forget everything is in one place. Apart from that, I do have Audible. I like to listen to audiobooks. I do have my banking app. I honestly no. Even for news, I try not to, I have to get off Instagram, because I think I've been getting a lot of news on Instagram, and it's becoming like a television set for how our grandparents treated television sets, right? One place where you can watch news, you can watch Chitrahar. So it's getting hard, but you also don't want to get locked into that, right? So let's see.
Any good audiobooks that you might have come across or you would like to recommend?
No Rules, which is by Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, about the culture that he made at Netflix. I thought that's really interesting, because he tried to break certain cliche ideas of having a big company, and he tried to build a new culture, which I really enjoyed. I read anyway business-ish entertainment business books. So I read The Ride of a Lifetime, which is Bob Iger, who created Disney for what it's become today. When you want to try and understand how somebody runs such a huge studio network, it can be very insightful. And then I am reading The Seat of the Soul, which is another book about soul and journey within. Oprah Winfrey spoke about as the book that changed her. Adam Grant is another writer that I'm really interested in reading. He's again behavioral economist and a thinker, and he talks about productivity, but how do we balance productivity with a life that we want? And I think that's a very important thing for me to have. So Adam Grant is somebody I enjoy. What else? I listen to podcasts.
Let's talk about podcasts.
I love this podcast called The Knowledge Project, which is a lot about how you work with teams, business, how you engage people, how do you collaborate, and how do you work in today's time? How do you come across your own biases when you're working? It's by Shane Parrish, who I thoroughly enjoy. Again, a great mind, great thinker. I follow the usual story map, script lab, those kind of things. I would go there every now and then just to see what's going on.
What are those guilty pleasures? What are those channels you're not telling us about?
My guilty pleasure, honestly, again, when I told you the Instagram algorithm got me, it was the cat videos, animal videos. I never knew that I could get hooked on to animal videos. I have to tell you, there's one page that I can't get enough of, where they dub animals. And so the animals that have been dubbed, it's called the Hilarious Ted. Oh my God. I never knew that I could watch penguin videos and panda videos for so long. I think Instagram for animal lovers is becoming like a different kind of a National Geographic, because it's all the funny bits about animals. So previously I used to love, when I was growing up, National Geographic and Discovery. And now I realized, oof, they got me. They got me on Instagram, man. It's hard.
Are you active on Reddit?
I'm not so active. I do go on to check sometimes if I want to engage to see what kind of conversations are going on. I do check follow a thread. But bro, how many things to follow? I feel the need to be able to somehow attain the knowledge without going down the rabbit hole. It's so hard.
I mentioned Reddit because we were talking about cat and dog videos. There are these subreddits, cat standing up, pet the damn dog, pet the damn cat. इतने प्यारे डॉग और कैट वीडियो वो है वहाँ पे सबरेडिट्स है. अगेन वो अलग खतरनाक रैबिट होल है.
अरे I'll tell you, Vaibhav, मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है कि as I said, I love pets and animals. I grew up having a pet always, so I was very close to all my pets. बॉम्बे में जगह नहीं है, तो I thought it's not a good idea कि यहाँ पे रखा जाए. Now, with all the videos I'm watching, I have decided whatever it takes. If that means I have to get a house somewhere else, or if I have to go out of Bombay once a month, but I need a pet in my life. I need an animal to be around me, because I've realized there's no other happiness that is the same as that.
But you're a cat person.
No, I mean I'm
Penguin
a
person.
dog person. I'm genuinely a dog person. I love watching cats. I've never had a cat pet. I've fostered a few cats. I love hanging with them. They're lovely, and but I think I'm more of a dog person. I can definitely fall in love with a cat if I had one. I went to Nasik right now. There was a little kitten, and I fed her, and then she just came and sat on me and kept purring. And I feel like, like the things they talk about falling in love when you see somebody, it's never happened with a girl, but when a cat does that to you, you were like, just stay here, don't leave. So yeah, I feel like I'll be that person who will be so much in love with the pet, like I won't let them want to go away. And that's why I said my neighbor's dog comes, so it does help every now and then.
On that note, I wanted to ask you, have you seen those National Geographic episodes that Snoop Dogg has dubbed? They're very funny.
Oh, that's
a great recommendation. I watch it. Snoop Dogg dubbing animals. Oh
Where
my
is it
God,
available?
what a trip.
I think you'll find them on YouTube.
I look forward to that for sure.
We do have to touch upon the topic of movies, TV shows, or documentaries. And since we didn't give you the heads up about the recommendations, so can you just tell us about any of the things that you watched recently that stayed with you? Not like the ultimate recommendations.
Unfortunately, last 2 years have been very low on consumption because I was making a film. I don't have the bandwidth to really absorb something. I don't think if I have any new recommendations that others already would have, the same Succession and all those things. But for me, movies are things that are, evergreen, certain movies, regardless of where you are in life. Rushmore is something that I just, in the morning, I was looking at a picture of Rushmore and I was like, this movie is so good. I recently, funnily, just had time to kill. So I watched The Treasure of Sierra Madre. Oof. It still holds so well. It's about greed and how it seeps into our mind. I thought it was wonderful. Sometimes when I just want to enjoy dialogues and like great conversation, I go back to West Wing. Just so good. Always the writing is so sharp and crisp. I'm also a lover of Veep and Silicon Valley. If I can ever be a part of creating something like one of those, like a Silicon Valley and the Veep, I think that would be my greatest joy, because when I watch it, I forget everything, and I'm like, how do they think of such funny moments and things? And especially, Silicon Valley. It's not just a sitcom. It's not like funny situation every episode. It has an arc over 4 or 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So I love Silicon Valley. I just love how they've created this whole thing. What are your recommendations? Give me some.
Yeah. So, have you seen this show? Like I have talked about it a lot on the channel. It's a mini series of Frances McDormand called Olive Kittredge. I would highly, highly recommend. That is one recommendation from me. Disha?
Every time someone tells me they enjoyed Silicon Valley, I feel like they would really like Derry Girls because it's so well written and it's so funny.
I would love for you, because now the next month I just want to watch and engage. Just send me a little message with all the things you have, because I'd love to just watch.
Great. Shakun, so is there anything from our end that we might have missed that you want to talk about before we wrap this?
My only disclaimer is, don't go down the rabbit hole. Follow your curiosity. And, we are living in a world with an overload of recommendation, curation, information, that you still have to follow some of your curiosity. I think it'll kill you if you were supposed to watch all the great shows, all the great books.
Yeah.
I used to feel like that. I used to feel like I'm missing out on something. I have to finish all the good books. I haven't read so many amazing things, but I've stopped being hard on myself now.
Nice.
I feel it's okay. Enjoy what you're reading. That's more important. Enjoy what you're watching. That's more important. The joy is never in doing too much. The joy is in always, taking pleasure in what you're doing or engaging in right now. So do that. That's my only little note. Hi, everyone. I'm Shakun Batra and I'm on Chalchitra Talks. I have to say I had a wonderful conversation, and they've given me a whole lot of insight into so many beautiful things to read, watch, listen to. And I think if you are somebody who are looking for a change in taste and looking for more interesting things, do subscribe and follow them for more fun recommendations.